Hey, Iostix here. I am a professional FPS coach and former professional coach for Overwatch League organizations like the New York Excelsior and the Boston Uprising, with now more than 5 years of professional coaching experience under my belt, running the biggest private coaching business over at iostix.com and helping out players for free over on my Discord's Ask Stux Anything channel. Well, so your team comp for dive is like kind of on the edge, you know? Like it's not terrible because you have the tracer. Um you know, like Ana is pretty nice, like it's an okay-ish comp for a monkey, you know. If you didn't have the tracer here, I would probably say it's not worth it. But this is like semi-playable. So what's the first step? What do we need to do at the start?
I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I mean, I'm just gonna wait for their tanks to pass the choke, and then I'm just gonna bubble them off, and focus the support.
But you don't even know who their supports are. What if their supports are Lucio Moira?
I
Okay.
don't know.
So first step is we need to actually come up with a game plan, you know? And usually for Winston, or, you know, a dive comp in general, that involves figuring out who the heck we want to jump on, you know? So that's step number one. So at the start, you don't really do anything. You just chill and you try to read the enemy team comp. So already you know they have a Roadhog, you know, he's spamming you.
Yeah.
That's good to know. He can fuck you up, so that's something that you want to ideally stay clear of. Okay? But, you know, you're not really scouting, like, you're fucking hiding. Like, you need to actually figure out what they're running, you know? Because if you did that, you would see they have an Ana, they have a Hanzo, they have a Sigma, they have a Mercy, and then maybe if you picked a little bit earlier, you would have seen, oh, the Mercy seems to be pocketing someone that's a Genji. Okay? Like, at this point, you were just kind of AFK back here for so long. 15 seconds into the round, you can just press tab and you see what comp they're running. But obviously, it's nicer if you can figure out before the round starts. Just get into the habit of starting over here so you can see them run out of spawn. Because if you can see like half their comp here, you can just jump back up here. Your healers can heal up any poke damage you took, and you can already come up with a plan. Okay?
How do I avoid my team from following me to choke? Because that's like a common issue I have. Like if I play really far, or like I'll have leap to get out, but like for instance, a Zarya would follow me. Like how do I avoid that?
You don't. That's not your problem. That's their problem. Okay. You just chill here for like 2 seconds after the doors open so you can see something, and then you go back. Okay. If your Zarya decides to stay here afterwards, like that's her thing. That's not your problem to control.
Okay.
Your teammates' mistakes don't matter because your teammates could have been your enemies, if that makes sense. So every single time your teammate does something bad, you need to be like, oh, nice. Clearly the people at this rating aren't infallible. Okay? Trust me, it gets spooky when your teammates don't make mistakes, because it means the enemies also don't make mistakes, you know, and you need to play really good to pressure them into making mistakes.
That makes sense.
But yeah, so looking at the enemy team comp, clearly Ana and Hanzo, those are kind of the prime targets. Mercy as well, because they don't have like a Pharah or an Echo. So the enemy team comp is very, very diveable. You know, your team comp is like an okay dive comp, but considering that the enemy team comp is pretty good to dive, it's okay. You know, this game should work out, but we need to be aware of the targets, okay? So now that we figured out what like the game plan is, we just need to basically scout for opportunities, okay? It's important to note that the enemy team comp have a Hanzo and a Roadhog, which means that their pick potential is pretty high. So you can't fuck around too long, you know? If they didn't have that, if instead of a Roadhog they had a Reinhardt, and instead of a Hanzo they had like a Kree or something, then you have like all the time in the world, you know, like people are just spamming each other for 10 years until something happens, you know? Against their comp, there's going to be a little bit more pressure. Okay? See, this is what I mean. So, it's been 23 seconds since the round started. They have a Hanzo Roadhog. The Roadhog already got a pick. So this already means you were too slow. Okay. And it's very important that you look at these situations with the right mindset. Okay. Of course, you can tell yourself, oh, she died because she's bad, or oh, like there's nothing I could have done to save her. Okay. But the thing is, if she dies here and your team cannot res it, like the fight is basically over anyways. So if you die, if you dive beforehand, even if the dive didn't work, it wouldn't have made a difference because you're under like a time limit, you know? Like if I tell you you need to go in within 10 seconds or I'm going to fucking kill this puppy or something, like it doesn't matter if you die in the dive, you know, because there's a time limit on the situation. Like you don't have anything to gain out of waiting. Okay.
Okay.
So right here, this is already way too slow, and then pushing into him is a bold decision. Because again, this isn't going to help you. So your best bet after your tracer died is, okay, you know, I need to kind of see if I can trade at least. You know?
Okay.
You basically say, oh, my tracer is dead. This team fight is kind of over already because there was a slow fuck. I need to go and jump in on someone to see if I can trade. So you just solo jump on like this Hanzo, for example. Do you see how he's a little split from his supports? You know, like after Tracer dies, you walk out, you're like, oh, there's a Hanzo. You know, very popular position for people to be in. You just jump him, you drop your bubble, and you just zap him to death. And then either you die or he dies. It's kind of a coin flip. But if you win the coin flip, you equalize the numbers, and then you have a chance of winning the fight.
Okay, so in this situation, instead of going for the hog, I should have dove the Hanzo.
You should have
even
looked.
Though I didn't have bubble.
The Hanzo specifically is just the result. What you should have done after your tracer died is just looked for a trade in general. This is just one example of an opportunity. Maybe there's a Mercy alone on high ground and you could have jumped her. You know? This is just, in this case, Hanzo is the most isolated, so your chances of killing him are the highest.
Okay.
But yeah, so you were too slow before the tracer died, you're too slow after the tracer dies. So even though right now you have nothing to lose, you play like you have a lot to lose, you know? Like you play like you're really scared of dying, you know?
Yeah. So I should just fuck it and just like, you know.
Well, yeah, at this point you say fuck it. Like, what do you want to do? You know, just pray that your teammates are going to win a 4v6. Not going to happen, you know?
Okay.
Because yeah, like I mean, do you see how you're wasting your time on that Roadhog? You know, maybe you can kill the Mercy here, you know, maybe she's bad. You know? Well, it takes too long because Mercy obviously, see, like the Hanzo would have been so much easier. He's still here. He killed your Ashe. You know, he would have been so easy. Like by now you probably would have killed him. But you chased after the Roadhog, which obviously isn't going to result in a kill because it's fucking Roadhog. You chased after a Mercy, which isn't going to result in the kill because she just flies all over the place. You know, and right here, like you're basically like stalling for time. At this point, you've completely given up on actually getting a pick and equalizing the fight. You're basically like, oh, okay, we lost. Tough shit. I'm just gonna stall as long as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to up the tempo a little bit. You know, right there, this whole fight was just very slow. Do we have any questions about that first point?
No, that made sense.
Okay. Very good.
So I just engaged way too late.
Basically,
and I engaged on the wrong way.
It took you way too long to even figure out what the enemy team comp was. And it took you way too long to actually dive in, especially considering that the enemy team had very high pick potential.
And so, does like poke damage in the beginning, is that alright? Like it doesn't really matter?
Doesn't matter for you as dive.
Okay.
Because like your team isn't going to take a lot of damage that early. So like your healers can just heal it. And you have fucking Ana Mercy, like more than enough healing. You know, like maybe if you had like Lucio Brigger or something, you would have to be a little bit careful. But with this comp, no worries.
Okay. I get rolled by this Hanzo pretty much all game. I don't think I kill him like.
Don't. Oh, yeah. Okay. So you lost the first team fight. What do we need to do now? What should be in your head?
Uh, I guess reset, right? I mean, and take
Well,
the
yeah,
high
exactly. You
ground.
want to reset. You want to stop. Like, they want to snowball you. They have a lot
Yeah.
of momentum. They have the tempo. They want to go in speedy, fasty, kill everything. So you want to try your best to kind of stabilize, like don't let them run over you, don't let them take control of the entire map, but you also don't want to die, so your team can kind of regroup. Because when they play this aggressive, it makes them very punishable, It's higher risk, higher reward, because they need to keep at least one person on payload to push. Okay? Which means
Yeah.
if you just stay alive and you prevent them from getting any more picks, eventually one of them is going to overextend and you can kill them, and then you can turn the momentum in your favor. Okay?
Okay.
But yeah, right here you don't do that because you get like super duper dunked on, which isn't great. And then you also ult here, which isn't great because we want to use ultimates. As I mentioned earlier, your ultimate's main, like, big purpose, main value is because it allows you to basically dive indiscriminately. I don't know what the term is. Like, you can dive without asking questions, basically.
Yeah.
Because even if something goes wrong, you just press Q. But right here, like, this isn't winnable. Like, there's snowballing. Your job here isn't to win. It's just to kind of stop the bleeding that's happening. So after you got low HP and got knocked away by the Roadhog ultimate, you basically should have said, okay, this is like not a great percentage play, Because now what's going to happen is you guys are going to like trade kills back and forth over and over again, but like it doesn't matter because the fucking payload keeps pushing. So you guys are like investing resources, like your ultimate, but they're still pushing the payload. Okay?
Yeah.
And see, look, your teammates, they just got like 3 kills. You just need to relax. When the enemy team tries to snowball, they're going to go in one by one. That makes them very vulnerable to getting picked off. And then you need to be ready to kind of take the opportunity. Okay. So basically, same thing here as on the first defense. Now your team is stabilized. Now you're in an even situation again. So we want to look for those dive opportunities, but unlucky, we don't have our ultimate. Okay. Okay, your Ashe gets a pick on the Genji. See, like this here is a perfect example where you having your ultimate would have been a teamfight win. So your Ashe got a pick on the Genji. Where the fuck did Genji die? There. That's a numbers advantage. That's something we can snowball off of.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
If you had
pretty much in a second.
If you had your ultimate here, you could have said, oh, Genji dead, Mercy maybe wants to res. Even if she doesn't want to res, it's a 6v5. If it's a 6v5, you can go in, you can close out the team fight, right? If you had your ultimate, that would be no problem because you just jump in, you bubble, and if something goes wrong, whatever, you ult. Everything is going to be good. But you don't do that. Your Ashe gets the pick and you're like chilling here and you drop your bubble and you let the Mercy res and you tickle the Sigma and you're not doing anything. Like your teammates are like hard carrying you right now.
Yeah, this was a Masters lobby. That's probably why.
You said that as if like Masters players are like insane.
Yeah,
God tier.
oh god, it's this problem, the rank issue. That's gotta be my main thing. The mindset of playing. God. Okay. Yeah, I just end right here.
Okay, I can tell you, I've seen a lot of master tier players. Okay. Like they're not that good yet. Like I personally consider masters to be like the average rating of people who try hard. Like diamond is kind of the starter rating, Like basically every single person who is actually serious about improving and doesn't have like major mindset issues, like blaming their team all the time or something, should be at least diamond, And then
Yeah.
from there on, they progress. So master is like, okay, you know, like, oh, you take Overwatch serious, good for you, but that's about it. You know, it doesn't mean they play 40 hours a week. Doesn't mean that they have like 10 years FPS experience. Like they just know the fundamentals, you know, or like the advanced fundamentals, the ones that you don't just learn by playing, but by actually kind of thinking about the game, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, like it's a little unfortunate because we spent so much time talking, so we couldn't actually go over a lot of the gameplay.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
But do you have any final questions about anything we've talked about today?
I guess just like what should be my main focus? Do you think? I guess.
Your main
like,
focus,
not gameplay wise, but yeah.
Your main focus right now needs to be ending your one-tricking phase. Start reintroducing Ryan again into your games and only playing Winston when like the game actually calls for a Winston.
Okay.
And then when you do play Winston, try to stick to that like 3-step plan, you know, where first you actually scout what the enemy team is, you know, like what targets are diveable. 2, you look for an opportunity, and then 3, you go in. Okay, and you want to get through those steps as quickly as possible, because the longer it takes you to scout, the longer it takes you to find opportunities, and the longer it takes you to actually go in, which means the enemy team has more time to pick your teammates off.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions?
No, I don't think so. I think that's it.
Okay, perfect. Then I shall bless you with marketing. Give me a second. Okay, so before we go, again, if you have any questions, my DMs are open. You can just send it to me. You are from the other end of the world, so if I don't respond immediately, you know, just give me some time to wake up and I'll get back to you.
Okay.
You can also send in replay codes. Just keep in mind that they're limited to 1 team fight per code, because otherwise people would just send me like, oh, you know, can you review these 24 team fights from this 1 replay code? Obviously, I can't do that. So 1 team fight, 1 replay code is okay, but as many as you want in a day. So if you play like 12 games a day, you can technically send me a team fight of each to review, if you play that much, you know. So the more you play, the more I can review for you.
Okay, that seems like a lot. That's not too much.
No, because even though that service exists, a lot of people just don't really use it, you know.
Okay.
So that kind of balances it. If it ever becomes an issue, then I'll have to figure something out, but for now it's fine.
Okay.
The next thing is the referral program. It's very simple. If someone gets a session and they say, hey, I got this session because of Denvi, you get a session for free. And then the last thing, I'm not going to go too much into this one, is the Phoenix Pass. Basically, if you liked the session and you want to have more sessions in the future, the Phoenix Pass is designed to just give you a bunch of perks, like being able to reschedule for free, being able to book multiple sessions in advance, being able to book sessions on weekends, being able to book sessions super late or on short notice. Like basically it has like a 10 billion different perks if you decide to get another session. But again, I really want to stress this. Even if you don't end up getting another session, no problem. Just send me a DM. Okay?
Okay. I probably will. Like, okay, how long do you think I should work, like, before I get it, like, if I get another session, how long do you think I should, like, space it out, I guess?
So, because this first session, we basically didn't review that much. We looked at, like, 2 team fights. Like, there's not really a limit when you want to have the next one. Generally speaking, what I recommend people is, if you plan to have a session on a character we've already covered, you want to get a 30-minute session with at least 1 week in between. So if someone is like working on their Ashe, for example, they would get like a 30-minute session each week. But then maybe they say, okay, now I want to, you know, learn McCree as well. But we haven't talked about McCree yet. So then for new characters that we haven't covered at all, like if you wanted to have a review on Reinhardt, for that I would get 60 minutes, just so we have some extra time to talk about theory before we go over the gameplay.
All right.
But yeah, I would keep at least 1 week in between sessions so you have some time to work on stuff.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Then the next guy is already waiting. I wish you the best of luck.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Godspeed.